We'll hear from Troy Smith and those who helped him make his difficult and unlikely journey from the hard neighborhoods of Cleveland to adoring crowds in Columbus to Times Square as a Heisman finalist. And Heisman Trophy winner just about 15 minutes away here in New York City. One more finalist to meet, and to know Troy Smith is to know that he has had to struggle for a chance to live, to find love, and to look beyond just the day-to-day worries, and occasionally struggle for a second chance. He had to leave one high school after elbowing an opponent in a basketball game, served a 2-game suspension at Ohio State for accepting an illegal payment. Then more recently, the struggle to prove himself as a quarterback and a redeemed leader. But to know where Troy Smith came from and what he came through is to understand how meaningful his continuing journey can be.
If you can walk the streets of Cleveland and walk past the drug sellers and the crackheads and the different things like that, people would take a chance on you. People will say, hey, you know, I want somebody focused like that.
I'm trying to get out of this place. Get away from here, my mother away, my family away. If I can, I'll take my friends with me too. Just to get away from this. That make me work 10 times harder seeing Troy doing it.
I do realize that I'm a role model. But my struggles and some of the things that I had to go through is no different from any other kid. You know, I don't want to make it seem like just my life was the worst of anybody growing up off 112th and St. Clair. The things that I saw growing up were not good. Everything wasn't always bad, though. The love that I had for my family and everybody else in my neighborhood around me is unparalleled, because that's what I went through. That's what made me what I am today.
That's a good quote, because he know what we went through. He know I've seen him at his lowest and I've seen him at his highest. I would love to see the state and the city and the community look at this young man here and say, if you continue to give him a chance, you know, look what you can have.
I am somebody.
I am somebody.
I may not look like everybody.
I may not look like everybody.
But I am somebody.
But I am somebody.
The BRIC program is huge for me. And BRIC is an acronym for brotherhood,
respect, intelligence, conduct, and knowledge.
The BRIC program helped me so much, you know, because this was during the time that I was just getting back acclimated with my mother. I had been a foster kid for a couple years, and this helped, you know, as a sturdy and steady backbone for me.
Troy was in an environment where hopelessness was one of the key words used in their community. And what we do with the BRIC program is make sure that we take those young men out of that environment.
BRIC was a great program as far as leading him in the right direction towards having respect for himself as a young black brother. He's always been a great mentor, you know, and he wants to set a good example.
There was times where, you know, I couldn't really go to my pops or go to somebody else that was a big brother that would tell me something different, but I can go to Troy. He always been the right guy. He always tell you the right things. He always gonna do the right things.
And getting his diploma is one of those things that is right, because getting your diploma on time is very difficult with the demands from a football standpoint, but he did it on time.
Receiving my degree from The Ohio State University meant everything to me. Getting that degree, holding it up, looking at my mother's face, you know, seeing her smile from ear to ear.
It's almost like I'm still in a dream. You know, I can't believe my little baby is doing all this stuff. I'm just proud of him, you know. He could have turned the wrong way, but he chose to turn the right way.
For Troy to receive the Heisman Trophy, it could change a lot of young men's lives. It can give a lot of young people hope.
If Troy wins the Heisman, I think that would say that if you continue to have love and passion and understanding for children, this is the things that can happen for you.
Why not have him come from Cleveland, Glenville? Why not have him come from Ohio? From all the things that he went through in his life, you know, to make him be the man that he is now. like I say, for him to just come from what we call the hood is just help him be the best man he can, and I'm just glad that he come from Ohio and come from Cleveland.
An emotional season, emotional weekend for those folks. An important phrase to Troy is make a difference, and he wants to return to this Cleveland neighborhood and make a difference for the people there someday. As a football player, a turning point was watching that Alamo Bowl game on TV after being suspended. He decided that within himself, he needed to make a difference. And boy, Lee, has he ever been a difference maker for Jim Tressel's team ever since then.
And I'm here with Coach Jim Tressel, the Buckeye coach. And Coach, after looking at that tape and all the things you've done in your life, what role have you played in Troy Smith from the time you recruited him in Cleveland to the young man sitting here in New York City?
Well, I haven't done a whole bunch. He's done it all, and Coach Ginn and his family and our football family at Ohio State are the ones that have embraced him, and he's embraced us, and we've learned so much from him, and it's just been a joy to be a part of his life.
What makes Troy Smith so successful in the biggest games of the year?
Well, Troy Smith is an extraordinary competitor. He loves it when it's the toughest. He loves it when the hitting's the hardest.
Yeah.
He has such great respect for the people he plays against, and I just think that he has so much fun.
You know, as coaches, we always hear from the players what they learn from us. What have you learned from Troy Smith?
You know, I think there have been some things that I've relearned. I've relearned the fact that love is the strongest thing there is, and Troy embodies that every day. I've relearned that humility comes before honor, and just having him around all of us, we've gone to school on Troy Smith.
Kirk, great football coach from Ohio State, one of the classiest guys in this business.
Absolutely, Coach. Troy, I want to go back to the future for a second, and what an amazing life you've had already. Let's go back and think about what was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome as a child.
I would have to say the biggest hurdle that I overcame coming up in Cleveland would just be my attitude in general. It was a point in time where I got back with my mother after being a foster child, and you know, I would throw temper tantrums all the time, and I would have to go to CMHA, that's down in the projects, and talk to a counselor, you know, about why I was so upset all the time. And at that point in time, I really couldn't understand, and I couldn't pinpoint it. But what it was just that hidden and that pent-up anger that I had just in general. You know, I thought that no one could tell me anything, and I thought that my way of handling things was the right way, until I got a chance to, you know, really sit down with that counselor and talk with my mother repeatedly. She would often have me write on pieces of paper, I'm not mad, I'm not mad, I'm not mad, over and over and over. But it paid off.
You think about, there's so many athletes, you might even know a few, who could have made it, could have been great players, but never got that chance. Who do you think affected you the most at a crucial time where you ended up making the right decisions?
I would have to say Ginn Sr. Without him in this situation, you know, I wouldn't be here. Point blank. I think a man has to teach a man how to be a man, and he did just that for me. Congratulations, man, on everything. You, as Coach just said, you're a great example for a lot of people. Chris?
Kirk, thank you. It has taken the big village of Cleveland, but Troy Smith sure has turned out great, and I know Irvin and Diane White back there watching in Cleveland. I bet there's very few dry eyes in that household. So there they are, the finalists. We'd like to invite our past winners to the stage now. We'll take a final break, and then the timeline that began way back with Jay Berwanger in 1935. And